Afternoon, church community. This week's devotion is on John 18, 1 to 27. And I'm going to start with a question that might be a bit hard for some to think about, and it might actually provoke some emotion. But I want to ask it anyway. Have you ever felt abandoned? Have you ever felt as though you've been left alone when you needed someone the most? Maybe a friend stopped showing up, or maybe a loved one turned away. That ache is one of the deepest wounds a human heart can feel. In John 18, Jesus knows that pain completely. He's betrayed again and again and again by Judas. He's interrogated by Ananias. He's denied by Peter. The one who loved so perfectly is left utterly alone. Yet through it all, we see that he's not defeated, but actually there's a divine purpose to all of it. And so first of all, in the garden, Jesus is betrayed and then arrested, but he's still in control throughout it all. John says in verse 4, Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked, "Who is it you want?" He doesn't hide, he doesn't step away, but in fact he steps forward. And when he says then later on, "I am he," the soldiers fall back. It's a reminder that Jesus is not a victim of these circumstances that we read in Scripture. He's the sovereign Lord choosing the path of suffering for our salvation. And so when life feels out of control, we can take comfort in knowing that Jesus never lost control. Even in betrayal and everything that he went through, he was in control of all of it and still is in control of all of it. Secondly, we see that Jesus then stands before Ananias and is interrogated unjustly, and he doesn't lash out. This is key. He does not lash out or lie. He simply says, "I have spoken openly to the world. I said nothing in secret." And then even when he's struck by an officer, he simply replies, "If I said something wrong, testify as to what is wrong. But if I spoke truth, why did you strike me?" Jesus shows us what truth under pressure looks like. It's calm, it's gracious, it's unwavering. It's not shooting back at someone else. It's not posting things on all our social media platforms so that we can stand strong in what we're posting and behind our keyboards, but actually it's calm, it's gracious, and it's unwavering. And so when we face accusations or misunderstandings, we can follow Jesus' example. Hold to truth without letting fear dictate what we do. We can speak with grace instead of anger and trust that God will vindicate us in his time. Thirdly, we see Peter. We see poor old Peter. Passionate Peter, but he denies Jesus 3 times. And just as the rooster crows, Luke tells us that in Luke 22:61, the Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Can you imagine what that look felt like? Denying Jesus and then having Jesus look at you like, "What are you doing?" That look wasn't something of condemnation, but I imagine it was pain-filled love. Later in John 21, Jesus restores Peter by another fire and gives him a new beginning. But Peter's failure reminds us that even the strongest can fall. We can be led by our emotions or different things, and we might act in a way in which we shouldn't. But Jesus' grace reminds us that failure is not final. Failure is not final. That Jesus restores the broken and recommissions the fallen. So here's the good news of John 18. When betrayed, Jesus is sovereign. When accused, he is still truthful. And when denied, he is still gracious. Jesus was abandoned so that you and I would never be. He walked through the darkness of being alone so that you and I could always walk in the light of his presence forevermore. Hebrews 13:5 promises, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." And that's true because Jesus was forsaken for us. So today, if you feel forgotten, misunderstood, or ashamed, Jesus knows your pain. He rules over your situation. He meets you with mercy. He was betrayed, questioned, and denied so that we would never have to be abandoned. And all glory be to God because of that. Have a lovely day, everyone. Take care.